Today marks International Firefighters Day in South Africa. The Western Cape is bracing itself for a shift in risk from wildfires to fires destroying shacks across the province. The province's Environmental Affairs Department has warned that the risk from open flames and paraffin heating systems would rise as winter approaches. As a precaution, more than 12,000 smoke alarms have been installed in informal dwellings, and fire awareness campaigns have been conducted to highlight the risk of using paraffin, gas and candles, especially during load shedding. Joining us now for more insight into the province's fire prevention strategy this winter, it's Disaster Management Chief Director, Colin Deiner. Colin, good evening and thank you very much for your time and joining us tonight here on In Focus. This season in the Western Cape is known as burn season. Now, this is, of course, a recurring reality, so much so that I saw a report that in about 7 days, the province spent close to 10 million on 75 fires. That's quite a lot of money that is being spent on fire. What is working? What is not working? And what should be put in place?
Okay, so I think the important thing is that looking at the amount of money that we spend, a lot of that is for preparation. So I think what is working and what is very, very important is preparation. You can't respond to incidents if you do not have the resources. So we spend a huge amount of our budget on emergency vehicles. I think we've procured about 60 vehicles across the province in the last 5 years. We spend a lot of money in our wildfire season on procuring aerial resources, helicopters, fixed-wing aircraft, additional fire teams to fight the wildfires. And then specifically, as you refer to now, with the winter onset and the possibility of all the informal settlement fires, there's a lot of work done around awareness. There's a lot of work done around strategies to fight informal settlement fires. And then we've also got our program, which you just mentioned, around the smoke detectors, where we actually put smoke detectors in people's shacks. And then that's an early warning for them to be able to evacuate when a fire breaks out in a shack. And we've actually seen a very big success on that. Obviously, the proliferation of informal settlements is a problem, and, they become bigger, and responding to them becomes a lot more difficult because space, we have to look at space. That's we still have to do a lot of work on.
Colin, seem to have lost you there in that connection. We'll try and reconnect with him. All right, Colin, I see you're back. All right. So, as you put it, it's the initial setting up, particularly for the rapid attack plan. I think that's what you call it, to be able to respond on air and to be able to respond on the ground. The aircraft, though, they don't belong to you. Is this a cost-effective way of approaching this strategy?
Yes, the thing is, aircraft maintenance and having the number of aircraft we need is a huge cost. And obviously, our fire season, our wildfire season, is at a different time than what the wildfire season is up in the north, in Limpopo, north of KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga, and those areas. So we basically share those resources. They go up into the north area during their wildfire season, and then they come down here. So it's just, the costs are just so huge that we really have to share those costs. And it's really a worldwide thing to make use of contractors, specifically when it comes to an expensive resource like that.
Yeah. The rapid attack plan you're saying was formulated some 10 years ago. What have you seen? What have been the successes of this plan?
Well, the most basic principle of firefighting is to get to an incident and to attack the fire as soon as possible. And what the rapid attack program really did is it allowed us to have enough resources and enough staff, etc., to be able to respond very quickly. And what we've seen is we've actually seen an improvement that 95% of the fires that we respond to in the wildfire kind of environment, we actually have been able to control within the first hour. So that's, although it's a big capital outlay initially to have all the resources available, it has actually given us the advantage of saving, I would say hundreds of millions of rands because we've been able to manage the fires, very early.
Yeah. So what should the communities be prioritizing right now, especially those around the informal settlement areas? Colin, I'm saying what should the communities around the informal settlement areas be prioritizing as a precautionary measure at this point?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I'm saying what should the communities around the informal settlement areas be prioritizing as a precautionary measure as we enter into the season?
Well, I think it's very important, firstly, to make sure that when you go to bed at night that there's no fires burning, that there's no paraffin fires, that you don't have any heating fires within your shacks. Those are very, very important because what can happen is people will cook food inside a shack or warm themselves and then go to sleep. So no open fires, I think, is really the first very important thing. The second one is, a smoke alarm, and I know it's really difficult, but you can get smoke alarms from a number of areas, and a lot of, I know Gauteng does as well, provide smoke alarms. See if you can get hold of one of those. Make sure that it's working. You'll be able to evacuate quickly. And I think what's really important, if fire does break out, evacuate. Do not stay where you are because, trying to fight the fire is really could place you in a lot of danger. So I think the most important things really is no open flames. Try and keep away from candles, that kind of thing. When you go to bed at night, make sure that that's all out before you go to sleep.
Yeah. Now, of course, how does the province then make sure that everyone is actually taken care of, that the resources are spread quite broadly enough that every fire that could possibly come up will be attended to? All right, that connection, they're giving us a huge challenge tonight. We're speaking to the Disaster Management Chief Director in the Western Cape, Colin Deiner.